Hi, everyone. Thank you for being here as we round out the conference. So I'm going to talk about rethinking dementia training in this very exciting time that we're in. So before we build anything, whether it's technology, training, care, we have to understand the person that it's meant to support. And right now, as we've heard over the past few days, we're in this really exciting time in our industry. There's this push to innovate for aging. We're seeing AI co-pilots for caregivers, automated digital assessments and care plans, real-time text-based training for caregivers that will give them that just-in-time training they need. But with dementia, everything gets more complicated. Dementia doesn't follow a script. It doesn't respond well to assumptions. And so if we build systems, if it's a product, a policy, a training, without that in mind, it's going to fail. So today I'm going to walk you through how we're doing this at the Key, not just by upgrading any one training, not by one out-of-the-box solution that was the secret to it, but we have a whole new approach. And so we're going to start where we always start at the Key, which is with a person. So I have Jean up here. Jean is an actor, but Jean is very real. We all know Jean. So Jean was in the emergency room 3 times over the past year. And we heard from Chris how disruptive that can be. Jean threw out the caregiver that her son spent 6 months trying to get into the home. Jean has called the police on her son, on her caregivers, accused them of stealing her necklace, putting salt in her food. Jean is not easy, but Jean also isn't the problem. It's our response to Jean. And so the problem is this lack of a need-based, highly tailored training. And we're in a place right now with AI, with technology, where we can bring that, but only if we understand Jean. And so really, when we have training that fails, Jean ends up being labeled as difficult, resistant to care. We push her out of the home sooner than we need to. We snow her with medication that she doesn't need, when really the issue was our approach. And it's often because we're not building for Jean, we're building for a company like the Key. And so it's actually very attractive. I see why people do it. We fall into that trap internally sometimes. People like to build for the Key. I'm doing demos all the time. We're the largest privately owned home care company. It's very exciting to come in and think you can bring in a product that will scale. But the problem is that Jean is not an exception. She's the system test. And so if a product, if a training doesn't work for Jean, it's not going to work for us. It's going to fail quietly. It's going to be one of the many products that come into the home care industry. People are really excited about it, and then it kind of fizzles out. And so no matter what it is, an AI assistant, scheduling logic, a training, if it doesn't hold up in the real world and for Jean, it's not going to work for us. And so let's talk for a moment about what's really happening inside of Jean's world. So you all know these symptoms up here. You've seen them in diagnostic manuals, in static trainings, but it's really different when we think about how it actually shows up for Jean. So perception. Jean, if you go into her house, she won't step into the shower. And that's because she has her beautiful dark emerald bath mat. Emerald's her favorite color. But with her perceptual changes, 2-dimensional objects now look 3-dimensional. And so it looks like a gaping hole in the ground that she doesn't want to step over. Jean gets labeled as resistant to care, refusing hygiene, when really it was a perceptual issue underneath it. Forgetting the names of everyday objects. So Jean will point at a microwave and say, the thing that heats up the food. And if our caregivers laugh, or if they don't know how to respond, or if they just ignore her, that's shutting down a really valuable opportunity for conversation. There's skills for this: echoing, validation, making the person feel heard so they keep talking and they don't shut down. Planning and problem solving. Jean is a fashionista. She's always loved fashion. She loves to get dressed. She feels proud when she finds something that looks good. But if her closet is filled with all sorts of clothing from different seasons, and she puts on things that are seasonally inappropriate and walks out, and her son says, "Mom, you look ridiculous, you need to change," that shuts her down. That makes her angry. It's a simple solution: having a care manager who can go in and edit the closet each season. So you're not just giving her 2 choices, you're giving her whole closet back and letting her choose. So Anosognosia, this is probably the single most important symptom in dementia, the least understood even by physicians. Anosognosia, which basically just means a lot of the time Jean doesn't know that she needs care. She doesn't think that there's anything wrong with her. So it's not denial. She's not trying to make your life difficult, the caregiver's life difficult, her son's difficult. She truly, in certain moments, thinks that she's just fine. So it feels intrusive. It feels like she's being bossed around. And so all of these symptoms, when we understand them for Jean, are going to impact how we can respond to Jean. And of course, Jean doesn't live in a vacuum. There's a whole system around Jean, right? Everyone is impacted because dementia impacts how Jean sees herself, how she sees others, how she sees the world. Everyone is trying to make sense of it in their own way. I often think about what I would want for my dad. It keeps me up at night, in fact, and I think about the type of care that we would design for my dad, how we can get to this place that we learned about yesterday, this interface between artificial intelligence and that augmented intelligence with human heart, human emotion, a type of training that would lead the caregiver to walk in and see my dad and know Mr. G, his engagement is he wants to be rolled through the aisles of Home Depot. He wants to mansplain every item. Let him. Don't tell him that he told you about the torque wrench already. Act surprised each time because this is his engagement and it's how he opens up. And so at the key, we're really challenging ourselves. Our training is not just for us. We do our training for everyone. Our trusted advisors, the fiduciaries, the lawyers, the clinicians who work for our patients, we do it for everyone, their family, because any one of these people could be an accidental trigger, someone who makes Jean shut down. And so we want everyone to know how we're approaching Jean. So dementia is messy, it's fluid, and the training approach has to affect that. There are going to be good days and bad days, and a caregiver who doesn't know that is going to be defeated the first time they try an approach and it goes wrong. There are going to be moments of clarity followed by confusion. That's anosognosia. It ebbs and flows. That's what makes it so hard. Jean might have agreed to a caregiver yesterday, understands she needs the help. Today, she's shocked that a stranger's in her home and she wants them out. We have to understand that. We don't teach a one-size-fits-all script, a pattern. We teach curiosity, the type of discernment that Mr. Ben Lytle told us about, wonder, curiosity. That's how we approach dementia training. Can this tool, can this training adapt to the person, not can Jean adapt to our system? And so this is what our dementia training looks like at the key. If dementia is fluid, if it's messy, if it's complex, how can we redefine that? So for us, dementia training is first and foremost grounded in neuroscience. So we teach people not just a list of what's happening in the brain, but really practically what that means. Executive dysfunction, anosognosia, perceptual pain changes, how can those show up in day-to-day life? Second, it's rooted in lived experience. These are real stories, families, caregiver stories, caregiver wins. We love when our caregivers tell us what works really well, what they're proud of. We bring that into our training right away. It's focused on adaptive, flexible strategies. We empower everyone on our teams to think creatively about dementia. And it's not siloed. Everyone in the organization does our dementia training. Chris, our CEO, Melissa, our president, our entire finance team. Everyone does dementia training because we never know when it's going to show up in the room and who needs to be equipped to support Jean in the way that she needs to be supported. And so I'm going to show you here a piece of our training. And this is the training that we give our caregivers. It's the training that I go out and do in the community. And what we tell people is Jean, with her dementia, wouldn't actually be able to write this letter. She wouldn't be able to read it like this. But we often don't get the perspective of the person with dementia. So what if we did? What if Jean, who's been labeled as difficult, resistant to care, impossible to care for, what if she could tell us what she really wants? So we can play this.
Dear Josh, could you just answer my question? I know I've asked it 50 times already and I can tell you're getting annoyed. But it makes me feel so much better when you look at me and respond. Each time you answer my, "Where are we going?" with a gentle and calm answer, I feel safe again. I know I say things that aren't true. I'm not trying to lie to you or misguide you or trick you, but things feel very different to me. Where I am, when I am, who I am. It all comes into sharp focus, only to fade away over and over again each day. I might act in ways that are really upsetting to you. I might do things that are annoying or even dangerous or vulgar or violent. You might think that you never really knew me, and the real me is showing up in my older age. Please remember that dementia is very real. My brain is changing. Don't let my behavior or words make you think any less of my character or values. I might blame you or accuse you of awful things. This is my mind putting broken puzzle pieces together in a way that seems to make a lot of sense to me in that moment. I'm very proud when I make the world make sense to me. So be gentle when you're showing me another truth. Distract me. Give me something to do. My favorite songs and scents and sights and tastes are still very much my favorites. And when you bring me something you know I love, I feel seen again. I might see or hear or feel things that aren't there. Please don't laugh at me or make me feel silly. And if I'm scared or upset at what I'm seeing or experiencing, please take it seriously and show me that you're on my side. Swat the bats away that I think I see. Close the windows so the neighbor I've been telling you is following me can't see inside my house. Help me look for my necklace and act surprised when we find it in the safe. Give me another glass of water if I say I can taste salt in this one. My experiences, however crazy they might seem to everyone else, are very real to me. When I ask where your dad is, you don't have to tell the truth if it's making me upset. It's okay to tell a story that isn't quite true. I don't need to relive losing my best friend every day. And when I say I want to go home or that I want my mom, what I'm really saying is that I want to feel safe and loved. Could you just make sure everyone around me knows that? I still like compliments. A lot. My brain is broken. You can't see this when you look at me, but it is. If I could will your memories to stay with me, please know that I would. Even though I will forget you, your nicknames, your laugh, your proudest day, your most difficult day, I still want to see you. When you play a song I used to love, or I hear your voice, or you hold my hand, I won't know why, but I'll feel so much better. Please don't try to do this alone. Get help when you need it. Actually, get help before you really need it. Take time for yourself when you want to. This is the best gift you can give me. Love, Mom.
Okay, so in case you think that dementia training has to be super high tech or super expensive, I made this for $100. I found the actor on Backstage. She self-recorded with her iPhone. And she said when she was crying, these were real tears because she wished she had known this for her own mom. So this is what good dementia training looks like. At the Key, we're doing both. Yes, we're going forward with tech. We're so excited about all the innovations and all the ways that technology is going to improve our training. We believe that training starts at assessment. You have to ask the right questions so you have the right care plan, so you can train caregivers in the types of things they need to be trained in for that person and their care. We're looking at automation. We're looking at all these ways to digitize and bring the training to people in real time. But it's all because we're going back to basics. We're teaching about things like anosognosia, the perceptual changes, redirection over constant correction, unmet needs as an approach to looking at all the different behavioral challenges that can come up. And also, at the key, we've made our dementia training free. We don't put a paywall behind this. We don't believe in that. I go out and do this training for anyone who wants to hear it. I've done it for other home care companies. We really believe in democratizing this. We believe that everyone should have access to good dementia care. And so, at the end of the day, if it doesn't serve Jean, it doesn't scale and it doesn't work for any of us. Thank you.